Good afternoon, all of you. So, let us begin with Module 3 of Water Supply and Treatment Engineering. So, in the previous classes, we have been studied about the water quality analysis and how to do sampling, what are the different water quality parameters, and some of the physical, chemical, and biological characteristics, and what should be the BIS limits, and what are the harmful effects for significant water quality parameters. Okay, so moving on to module 3. So this is the overall contents of module 3. So relatively compared to all other modules, module 3 is having a vast content ranging from sedimentation until the membrane filtration, and as you can see, it involves the sedimentation theory, different types of settling tanks, and maybe a simple design of sedimentation tank. It could be rectangular or circular, and uh, the new types of sedimentation tanks which are existent these days, that is the concept of plate and tube settlers. Okay, then sedimentation aided with coagulation, then different types of coagulants used in the treatment of water and its suitability, then the feeding devices for coagulation, that is wet feeding and dry feeding devices. Then you have something about clariflocculators, that means the coagulation and flocculation takes place in the same chamber, and that is called as clariflocculators. We'll see in detail what is that, how it is designed, and how the water inlet and outlet arrangements are made. Then comes filtration. Okay, and what is the theory of filtration? That is different types of filters, that is slow sand filter, rapid sand filter, and pressure fan filters, along with its sketches, its construction, operation, and some of the operation problems and how these problems have to be dealt in the filtration process, and maybe a design of a slow sand or rapid sand filter without under drainage system. Okay, there will be a design problem on sedimentation tank as well as on filtration. Okay, then the last part consists of the membrane filtration techniques, that is ultrafiltration, microfiltration, and reverse osmosis, its concepts, how the water is treated using the membranes, and what are the problems associated with the membranes, that is the fouling problems and how to prevent the fouling, and some of the pre-treatment methods which can be used for the treating of water using membrane systems. Okay, so comparatively it involves many topics, and you have to put some more effort in this module compared to other modules. Okay, and as you can see, this module consists of the L1, L2, and L3 levels. Okay, that is remembering, understanding, and also since it involves some numerical problems, it is also concerned with the L3 level. Okay, so let us begin. First, let us all know what is meant by sedimentation. Okay, so sedimentation is nothing but the settlement of the particles under the influence of the gravity in simple terms. Okay, in today's lecture we'll learn about what are different types of settling and the theory of sedimentation, or it is also called as theory of settling. Okay, so before undergoing the details about the sedimentation process, so let us see where actually it comes in the water treatment plant. Okay, so like in module 2 we have seen the process flow diagram of water treatment. Okay, so by seeing the diagram you can visualize at what level the sedimentation process comes in the water treatment flow chart. Okay, so this is the initial step, that is river water. It is being extracted by constructing a intake structure, and we'll collect the water from the source. It can be a river, lake, or any source for that matter. Okay, then after extracting water through the intake structures, then this part comes. This is the location where the sedimentation tanks are placed. Okay, so after this it comes the process of coagulation and flocculation. So that means in some of the plants we have something called as primary sedimentation tank and secondary sedimentation tank. Okay, so this is how it differs based on the location. So we'll study in detail when we classify about different types of sedimentation tank. Okay, so if sedimentation is done by adding some of the coagulants, that is the chemicals, so which will increase the size of the flocks due to the addition and chemical reaction with the help of coagulants. For the faster rate of sedimentation, we do a process called as coagulation. Okay, so followed by flocculation. So flocculation is the process of mixing the chemicals and bringing the agitation in the steady water so that the coagulants mixes well with the water and the impurities, thereby increasing its size so that it can settle faster. That process we call it as flocculation. Okay, so then again we have to settle the flocculated solids. Okay, so that's why we again hold the water for some amount of time, so that is called as detention time, so that the flocks which are being formed in this flocculation and coagulation chambers can settle and removed easily from the bottom, and the water is taken to the next level, that is filtration, then followed by disinfection, then storage, and ultimately distribution to the consumers. Okay, so this we have already studied in detail about the flow diagram in module 2. Okay, so now let us move on. What is meant by sedimentation? Okay, sedimentation is nothing but it is the process of settlement of the solids at the bottom of a sedimentation tank under the influence of gravity. Okay, so for example, if you take a beaker of 100 ml water containing it, and if you put a small stone into that beaker, so it will settle, right? Why it does settle? Because under the influence of gravity the stone will settle, and the settling velocity, it depends on the specific gravity and size of the particle. Okay, so for example, if you take two beakers of 100 ml together, and if you place 5 gram of stone in one beaker, and if you place 10 gram of stone in another beaker, so it is obvious that the 10 gram stone will settle at a faster velocity, whereas 5 gram stone will settle at a slower velocity than 10 gram stone. Okay, so that is settling velocity. It depends on the specific gravity of the particles. Okay, here you can see the actual images of the sedimentation tank which are being used in the treatment of water. Okay, so relatively these are bigger in size if it is for a community water treatment plant, as shown in this figure. Okay, so the sedimentation tanks can be rectangular as well as the circular types. Okay, so the sizing depends on the quantity of the water which is to be treated. As you can see, this is the sedimentation tank depth, and the persons are cleaning the walls of the sedimentation tank. Okay, so it can be a very larger size. This is just to show you an overview that how the sedimentation tank actually looks like. And this is somewhat called as circular sedimentation tank. Okay, as you can see, the structure is a circular one. Okay, so with design dimensions, and at the center you will see a scraper, and this is called as the gangway. So and it is fitted with a motor at the center, so which will be constantly rotating so that to remove the sludge which is accumulated at the bottom. Usually the bottom of the sedimentation tank will be at a slope, okay, to collect the sludge after sedimentation. Okay, so this is how it looks Okay, so this is the sedimentation tank, the outer wall, and here you can see the inner wall, okay, inside this, so that the water from this tank no gets mixed with the outer layer here. Maybe if you add coagulants into this layer, and slowly the sedimentation process happens, and with the help of this overflow weir, the water flows to the next stage of the treatment. Okay, so you will understand this more when we speak about the clariflocculator. These are just the images to just make you understand the types of sedimentation tank used in the field. Okay, so this you can see another image, and this is what I was talking about. This is the overflow weir, so wherein the treated water from the sedimentation tank gets treated or coagulated, then the water is taken to the outer channel here, then the water moves to the next level of the treatment process. Okay, so this is a circular sedimentation tank. Similarly, this is a picture of a rectangular sedimentation tank. As you can observe in this diagram, the length will be relatively more compared to the breadth. Okay, so this is one of the design consideration of the rectangular sedimentation tank. In the earlier images also you could see the longer length compared to width. See here, the length is relatively more compared to the width of the tanks. Okay, see, this is the typical inboard arrangement. Okay, so different forms of weirs which are used to collect the treated water from the sedimentation tank. Okay, so this is somewhat staggered weir to collect the treated water, and this is just an overflow weir which is placed in between two parallel sedimentation tanks to collect the water from both the rectangular sedimentation tanks, and this is the staggered type of outlet. Okay, so based on the design, the outlets can be, the weir can be of different types. Okay, then coming to different types of settling. Okay, so basically there are four types of settling. So first one is called as discrete settling, second one is flocculent settling, third one is hindered settling, and fourth one is compression settling. Okay, so let us see what is the different types of settling. Okay, so the first diagram illustrates the discrete type of settling. Okay, so here second type represents the flocculent settling, and third image represents the hindered settling. What you can observe from all these three images, it is obvious that in discrete settling the particle settles independently without coming in contact with each other. Like in the beginning I gave you an example of two beakers of different size of the stones of settling. So here what happens, some of the particles which are having more specific gravity, so they settle individually based on the specific weight. Okay, so in flocculent settling some of the particles comes in contact with each other, so that could be because of the addition of coagulants, or due to the particle attraction, or due to the hitting of particle between one another, or contact of the particle between one another, as you can see here. So hinder settling happens because of the extended flocculent settling, that is particles tend to agglomerate or come in contact with each other, thereby increasing its size, and it settles. Okay, so this is the detailed description of the discrete settling. Like I was telling, the particles in hindered settling, they settle independently. Okay, so this type of settling occurs when there is a relatively low solids concentration. Then in flocculent settling, like I told you, the particle will come in contact with each other, and that is called as agglomeration. Okay, so that is sticking of the particles with each other, and it will form the thing called as flocks. Okay, as you can see, this is an individual flock, that is the 2 to 3 particles coming in contact and forming the clumps is called as flocks. Okay, this occurs when there is a greater solid concentration and chemical or biological reactions alter particle surfaces to enhance the attachment. What does this statement mean? It means that when we add any coagulants, so this flocculation may happen, that is, the particles of oppositely charged particle can come and attract with each other, and also due to the chemical properties and biological properties of the solids which are present in the water. Like we have discussed that the water may contain many types of physical, chemical and biological impurities. So based on the characteristic types of the pollutants, so these types of flocks can be formed invariably due to its physical, chemical and biological characteristics. Okay, so this is called as hindered settling. Okay, so here the particle concentration is very high compared to the flocculant settling. In fact, it inhibits the water movement. The water may have to pass from these channels like this because of the great increase in the size of the flocks. That means the concentration of the flocks will be relatively higher in this type of settling. Okay, so that is the water may have to move in between the passages of the flocks. Then this is called as compression settling. Okay, so this usually occurs when the sedimentation process is almost at its end, that is at the lower level of the sedimentation tank, when the entire mass of the flocculant tends to settle by adjoining the different levels of the flocks which keeps settling in the sedimentation tank. And this is what you observe when all the flocks come in contact with each other at the bottom of the sedimentation zone. Okay, so this type of settling we call it as compression settling. Okay, so this is the diagram which illustrates the level of the different types of settling in different levels of a sedimentation tank. Like I was telling, discrete particles settle due to the more specific gravity. So in the initial level of the sedimentation process itself, without the addition of the coagulant, sometimes this discrete particle settling occurs. That is why it is placed at the top. Okay. Next comes the flocculant settling. So this I told you, it could be due to the particle to particle agglomeration or due to the characteristics of the pollutants. Then hindered or zone settling is the extended level of the sedimentation after flocculant settling, and ultimately the compression settling at the bottom zones of sedimentation tank. Okay, then comes the theory of settling. Okay, so let us stop at this level. Okay, and we'll continue the theory of settling in the next class. Okay, so before that, so you please concentrate on the sedimentation. What is meant by sedimentation? What are different types of sedimentation tank? Okay, and maybe you can search the information related to different types of sedimentation tanks and the processes. Okay, that's all for today. Then we'll continue in the next class. Do take care of yourself. Have a nice day.